After Trudeau's people-kind remarks, pundits like Paul Joseph Watson mocked him pretty heavily for it, as did pretty much everybody else.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
we
that.
like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind.
But it's become clear that their virtue-signaling ways aren't just an act. It's what they really believe. If you don't agree, I've got 4 examples to varying degrees, each showing that people do actually think this way. It's either that everyone feels this way and you're in the wrong, or everybody ought to, or 2, if you don't think this way, then you're not actually human. You're a white supremacist, Nazi, or a white nationalist, or something to do with that. If you don't agree with them, then you must not like minorities and want them to fail rather than succeed. If you don't believe in their mandates like equal outcome and affirmative action for no reason, which of course are the only true and correct ways to get to an equal society, you must prefer a white-centric and white-dominated society. And since you are a Nazi and white supremacist, you don't need to be engaged with, humanized, normalized, or even thought of as a real person. Case in point, the principal secretary for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Gerald Butts, often called Trudeau's drinking buddy, he said that InfoWars, the rebel media, and everybody else who makes fun of Trudeau for the people-kind remarks, an alt-right Nazi. It's kind of odd saying that the rebel media has Nazi and alt-right friends, considering that its founder is a Jewish guy named Ezra Levant. But the tweet is still up and there's been no apology, which is something that the Liberals and the DNC love to demand. Apologies for everything or else you're guilty. It's almost like they don't give a shit. Second case. The other day I noticed somebody commented on Andrew Scheer, who is the Conservative leader of Canada currently, saying that he does not care about minorities. I made a rebuttal. She said something about Nazis and I said, you know, people don't really care that much about Nazis. It's not really high on their to-do list. She then quoted me and said, leave it to a conservative to say that Nazis are low on the list of priorities. This is a real young woman who, instead of conversing with people, retweets them condescendingly and attempts to dehumanize them as if she's got legions of followers waiting to hear her quips and budding remarks. Oh, and she works for the local NDP chapter. What a surprise. These people exist, and they have no qualms about calling anybody who disagrees with them a Nazi or a white supremacist, and thinking you're just not worthy of speaking with them.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
If you don't know who Jill Colton is, she's a Canadian YouTuber who seemingly loves Western society and Western culture, and her country, Canada. Recently, she interviewed a guy named David Van Cure. He seems pretty reasonable scrolling through his timeline, and I probably agree with him on a lot of things. Until you see what happened. The video never aired. According to Colton, it's because it just wasn't good enough. According to David, it's because she's an alt-right, white supremacist Nazi supporter of some kind. Now, as a fan of Jill's, I'd never heard her say anything remotely racist. In fact, I've heard her say the opposite, that ideas matter more than skin color. Of course. David, perhaps seeing the error in his ways, apologized, but only because he's against racism.
By the power of Grayskull!
But then something else surfaced that suggests he's not actually quite a good guy. But David, please tell me you didn't say this. No, it wasn't me, don't worry. It was my friend. He hacked my account. I pointed this out to David, and he blocked me. What a tough guy. These people exist.
Tell them, McCluskey. Tell them what time it is. I don't believe you people.
Huh? What do you mean, you people?
The last thing I want to show you is from Milo Yiannopoulos. I'll show you a bit here, and then you can follow the link in the description to the full video. Professor smears him to his classroom and then plagiarizes BuzzFeed in an attempt to paint him as a white supremacist and white nationalist.
Well, he was showing us a Dave Chappelle skit where Dave Chappelle was making fun of white people. And then he was saying, oh, comedians give political relief. We need to listen to them. They're the voice that we need to, get us through these tough times in America when we're divided. And I raised my hand. I was like, doesn't it bother you that comedians can't come on college campuses anymore? And he's like, no, because of white supremacists like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo.
Well, he wasn't able to come here.
But he was just invited to like University of Michigan or something.
But he's not a white supremacist.
Sorry?
He's not a white supremacist.
He absolutely is.
No, he's not.
Milo?
No, he's married to a black guy. How is he a white supremacist? Yeah, he was like, well, I'll get to that. I'll find examples. And I was like, I've seen his speeches. And he's like, no, I'll come up. I'll put it on my list. So then he comes the following day, the Thursday, with like this whole presentation with a PowerPoint and everything to try to one-up me.
trying to. This is sort of like you've really rattled him, and he's not sure of himself. So he goes and he, as it turns out, plagiarizes a BuzzFeed hit job.
Oh yeah.
He enabled the alt-right and white nationalism to prosper in this country. He mainstreamed it. White civilization, anti-Semitic, racist, racism. Hitler, racist. Is there evidence, a lot of evidence, that this guy is a white nationalist? Yes, there is.
Broadcasting from South Florida, this is The Milo Show. I'm Milo, and today a special greeting to you, Professor Height. Now I, as you may know, am a...
My whole point here is that these people exist. They're kind of a minority, but they're a very loud one. They think you're a Nazi if you disagree with them, and then they don't have to debate you, they don't have to speak to you, they don't even have to treat you as human. You're so disgusting and abhorrent that violence against you is okay. They don't need to have any evidence of you doing or saying anything bad. If you don't agree with exactly what they think, there's no gender, boys and girls are the same, purple is the best hair color, then you are not human. I don't know about being human. I might want to be an elf. Or a hobbit. Definitely not a dwarf. The Hobbit sucked. It's way too long.